All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to another edition of this webinar from SkyMap Global on getting the competitive advantage with Google Maps and location intelligence. I am Santosh, and I am the marketing manager here at SkyMap Global, and I am joined by Akhil Shukla, who is a certified Google Maps specialist, and he will be explaining to you on some of the use cases and some of the success stories on how businesses have successfully used location intelligence with Google Maps in their business. All right, so before we begin, I just wanted to introduce you to our company, SkyMap Global. We are primarily into satellite imagery, data from aerial and satellite, of course, and from radar satellites, which is also known as SAR. And we put all of this information together through a platform. We run our analysis tools on this platform, which are powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we create specific solutions that you can apply for your project or for a certain setting in your industry. We also have IoT solutions that we merge now with our location component to bring you exact and accurate location intelligence. And we will discuss more about that as we go on. So we are a premium partner for Google Maps, both in India and Southeast Asia. Now, what that actually means is that we are here to help you discover how you can use the location intelligence component for your business and drive innovation in your company. We also help you integrate Google Maps in your existing or upcoming applications. We also conduct one-on-one workshops and webinars and seminars similar to this one to ensure that you have ideas and to ensure that you always have innovation in your business, which includes location intelligence. So now, before we begin, I just want to introduce you to some of the aspects of where we are today. So we will rewind a bit. About 10 years ago, Uber did not exist. This is a ride-sharing or a cab-hailing application, as we very well know. This application, food delivery, did not exist 10 years ago. We also didn't have grocery delivery to our homes about 10 years ago. And we didn't have this, a self-driving car. In fact, this was not possible even 5 years ago. It was something that novelists used to write in science fiction novels and something that we would dream of riding one day. We didn't have saloon services at home. This is now possible with some new applications and companies. And what matters to me the most is you couldn't get plumbers home. This is especially important. If there's a problem at my place with a tap or with something, I want to book a plumber and I want to have him come home at a certain point. Now, this has been made possible by location intelligence. Thanks to maps and information from location, all of this is changing. And there's a paradigm shift and there's new themes of businesses that are emerging and changing and even challenging entire established markets. So using location intelligence today, there are 1 million startups in the world, and every day, there are more coming up. They can become the next Ola or Grab. They can become the next Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, Big Basket, or even Urban Clap. And what is driving this innovation today is primarily the depth at which smartphones have penetrated into society today. Almost everyone has access to a smartphone, and most of these smartphones today, even the low budget level smartphones, have processing power capable enough to run pretty decent applications powered by location or maps. So the only thing today that can bring your business closer to disrupting established practices in your industry is how you can establish drive innovation using location intelligence in your company. So let me introduce you then to what really is location intelligence. It's how you can relate geographical content to your current business data. It's how you can turn this data into insights that you can use for your business purposes, and how a merge of this geographical information systems, your all of this aerial data, all of your demographic data, and data from say IoT devices, how we can put all of this together and create your own database. So when you merge all of this, you have a true database of strong location intelligence, which you can then use in your application to drive innovation. So how do we do that? Let's find out. So there are some techniques which I want to introduce to you, and you can use these techniques to actually incorporate location intelligence in your business. And one way to do that is to start thinking spatially. Think about how place and location matter in your organization. Think about how answering these questions of place and location matter for your business, and how you can better solve existing business problems with these answers. Now, take an example. For instance, on the screen, you can see there's an insurance company. You can price your property based on the location that it's in. And I mean, if you understand the geo characteristics of that area, you're able to price it perfectly well. You can create accurate quotes, you can model risk better, you have better claims process, and so on. So the technology for an application or a solution like this is quite simple. All you need is to understand your geolocation information. You need real-time weather information. You need an address autocomplete system, and you need city population statistics, most of which are available free of charge. And we will discuss more on some of the technologies here as we go on. So it's quite simple. Another example is, let's say you're a financial or a credit company. You can closely monitor fraud and see how your people or customers are complying with regulations. If you just add geolocation or geo-enriching by geo-enriching your customer or your borrower profiles. You can locate your customers, your transactions, incidents, and areas of risks to just identify potential fraudulent behavior in real time. And what technology do you need to establish something like this in your company? It's quite simple and easy. You need geolocation again. You need a technology called distance matrix, which we will get into in the course of this webinar. We will need places information, which comes from a toolkit like Google Maps platform, which we will also get into later on in this webinar. And we will need directions and visualization, both of which are possible on a platform like Google Maps. So another technique of introducing location intelligence to your business is to enrich with location. Think about what data you already have about, in your business. It could be about customers, it could be about transactions or your partners and so on. And think about how location information can actually enrich that data. For example, let's take a retail store. Now you can, integrate IoT devices or RFID devices in your store to analyze customer behavior and customer traffic in your store. And if you combine this with your database and your mobile application or your backend systems, you can not only deliver notifications to the customer based on their behavior in your store, you also have an understanding of how every retail store is performing. Now, apart from this, you can deliver real-time insights to the customer. You can have stuff like real-time coupons delivered to the customer to drive more purchases in your store. And what technology do you need to have an application like this running? You just need a mobile application. You need a real-time store information, which is quite possible with cheap IoT or RFID sensors today. You need your existing customer database, which you already have. You also have your customer loyalty points database and your customers' previous purchases. So you just have to map all of these together, and you have a very powerful information system with which you can drive very powerful innovation. Another example is potential versus penetration. So if you can see this map, this is a map of the geo fiber network. and the areas in which geo fiber has actually been established in by Geo. So if you could visualize your leads and your presence in those areas, you can visualize your customers and products on a map. You're able to understand what you're selling, who you're selling to, and who else can you sell to. In other words, it is potential versus penetration. So you can now begin to understand, patterns of which product is performing better, which customer is performing better, what demographic of your customer is performing better, and then you can create unique strategies to focus on those specific points. And of course, with this information, when you start visualizing this on a map, you can have very distinct location-based local strategy. And what technology do you need to run this? Again, it's quite simple. It's from the same toolkit that we will be discussing as we go on. It's your existing customer database. You already own that. You have your potential customer database. You can either create that or get it from your sources. You need research data. We will get into that soon. You need geolocation information, which will come from our Maps platform. And of course, you will need other technology to route your field sales personnel. And we will discuss that as we go on in the webinar as well. So most of this technology is quite accessible and all part of a single platform. So really, again, what really has happened until now is most of the established companies or even startups have just combined an industry with location. So taxi plus location is equal to Uber or Ola. We have food plus location, and then we have companies like Swiggy and Zomato for home delivery or even restaurant reviews. We have groceries plus location, and then you have Big Basket and other emerging players in the market today. You have vehicle plus location, a very popular asset tracking system that most companies are now using. We have commutation possible today. Office going people can now easily find what cabs or what shuttles that they need to take. In fact, this is being offered as a service to them today. So it's quite simple, really. If you just attach your business problem or your business innovation or an idea with location, it's quite easy to create disruption. And you will see as we go on, you will see how different companies have actually incorporated location into their business and how they're disrupting the market today. So I will now hand this over to Akhil Shukla, who is here with me, and he's our certified maps specialist. So guys, if you have any questions during the course of this webinar, please feel free to use the live chat option, and I will take your questions and I will pass that on to Akhil for him to answer that for you. Over to you, Akhil.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you for the heads up and all the information that you've given. So essentially, before I get into understanding or explaining how companies are using location intelligence, let's address a very fundamental issue of what location actually does. In today's world, there is a lot of information that is available to people. We have so many stores, we have so many outlets. What location does is tries to make life simple. It makes life simple not only for the people who are trying to get to the store, but also for the people who are setting up the store. If you have the information of how people are behaving around the area, the demographic information that you were mentioning, what happens is if you understand that a particular area attracts a lot of customers, it is a much easier decision for you to determine whether to set up a store over there or not. So in one sentence, what we are trying to do is make life simple, not only for the companies, but also for the customers. And that is how you drive business. Business needs to solve a problem. And solving a problem doesn't have to be that it's a very big problem. It can be as simple as having the coffee prepared right before you come back. That is as simple as the solution or the disruption that we are looking at. So having said that, let's explore how real world companies are actually using the location intelligence. So the most fundamental basic use of maps that you have already somewhere encountered is a store locator. So you have so many outlets across the city and you need to be able to identify where the stores are. But you know what? I already know the stores that are near my house. I've been living there for a very long time and I know each shop and each corner. That is not the purpose that we are trying to solve with maps. What we are trying to do is when I'm commuting to work or trying to get back from work, I need to understand where the store is along the way. Is it on the left side of the road? Is it on the right side of the road? Will the pickup be available at that point in time? Can I park in during the store? Or is there a free time that is optimum for me to visit? This kind of information, when combined with location and real time traffic information of how long it will actually take me when I leave at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, that is powerful information that we are trying to generate. It's not about taking the existing thing, adding location, and just being happy with it. It is about innovating new ways of making life easier. In a similar fashion, asset tracking has made life simple for a lot of people, including the drivers themselves. Asset tracking allows the supervisor to be able to track all of the vehicles that are moving around that are under his control, and also helps the drivers to identify the buildings easily, avoid the traffic jams, and get there faster. They spend less time on the roads and they can spend more times happily doing what they love. This reduces employee overtime. This also reduces your operational costs because trucks are spending less time on the road, which translates to fuel efficiency as well. See, the maps doesn't necessarily have to just address one problem, either customer facing or business facing. The same map can be used to address all avenues. Location tagging has become very prominent recently, and there is a reason for that. We are looking at a shift in how people operate. Now, whenever somebody invites you to go someplace, the first thing you do is check on your phone on how far the place is, what else is nearby, because you might not like the place at all. You want to see how the traffic condition is before you leave, right? So all of us are now starting to get into tagging of locations and understanding how location plays a part in our day-to-day lives. Location sharing is also another very interesting use case that has come up recently after WhatsApp allowed live sharing of location. One of the best use cases that I have is when I'm taking a late night flight and I'm returning, I can just live share my location with my family and they can rest assured that I'm moving and I'm traveling in real time. I mean, it is a very simple yet very powerful solution that we are able to offer right now. Now, local discovery, as with Zomato, as with even Swiggy, you can discover what is nearby. And how does this help you? You can stand apart from your competing websites by tapping into the powerful search tools. You can add near locations. For example, if you are a bus ticket booking platform, you tell the people where the bus stop is, but you also let them know that there's a restaurant nearby where they can hang out with their friends. This becomes a very convenient application where the person doesn't have to move from one app to another. Travel planning is yet another use case where companies are leveraging the different APIs that you have with simple trips and with simple maps. Now, the most important thing, especially in India, is I need to know if the hotel is a 4-star, 5-star rated hotel. But more importantly, I need to know what is the price of the hotel because we are very, very price sensitive, right? Now, imagine if you're traveling multiple places and you need to understand where exactly you need to take up the hotel. That would be difficult if it was a list, or even if it was a table, that would be really impossible for you to determine. But having all of this on a map gives you context of location. The users can plan their upcoming trip with very detailed information, including the local reviews. Similarly, once the planning has taken place, now comes adventure. When people are actually traveling, they will be able to convert all of the information that they have taken into planning into actionable insights. And this gives you more information about the way your customers are interacting with the world and interacting with your products as well. When you tie these environments to activities, it becomes a very powerful, engaging tool. Again, a very common use case is location tracking, where real-time features of users are tracked, and this is primarily being used in fitness applications because health and fitness is also taking the front seat right now in terms of applications and industries. And all of this tracking in a very intuitive user interface can be done using a map. Visualization also plays a very important part in day-to-day business activities and in also day-to-day activities of a consumer. They need to be able to understand where have they been moving and what they have been doing exactly. All of this becomes possible with a map and a smartphone. Wherever you are going, you can simply tag the locations using a photograph that is taken from the mobile phone. And all of this information is saved to a central database. Anyone having access to this database can use it for activities ranging from setting up relief centers to also tracking their day-to-day activity. Your activity of spending expenses during a business trip can also be tracked using a map. It becomes so convenient when you get back home and you're not able to remember where exactly did you have lunch. You might have lost the receipt. Well, just look at the map, look at where you were. It makes it very simple. Again, fleet tracking has been going on for a really long time, and the biggest example use case that I can give you is Uber. Uber is simply connecting you to the drivers who are nearby via a mobile application. The mobile application sends latitude, longitude that is then connected to the lat long of the user, and depending on nearby traffic and a multitude of algorithms, the best available cab is assigned to you. But look at the business that it is driving. It is a huge company in today. Similarly, to exemplify what I was talking about, having the map to book hotels, if you quickly look at Airbnb, there's an option, there's a very intuitive option that says search as I move the map. Now, you see the area on the map is actually New Delhi, Gurgaon region. Now, supposing I have a couple of meetings in New Delhi and I have a couple of meetings in Gurgaon, I need to be able to identify which is the most optimum hotel that I can book so that I don't have to travel multiple places and it is easier for me to commute. Now, having such a map based view is so powerful that I don't have to think twice before I select a hotel. If you compare this with a list based view, you will start to understand how this is much more effective in even helping to convert customers. Because if a customer is interacting with your website for a longer time, that means the chances of conversion are also increasing. Showing a map definitely would increase engagement because then the person has more context and more information to work with. Providing customers with information in today's internet age is a must. If you are not able to provide the information, the customer is not going to buy. So the first step to converting a customer is to provide ample information, and the map does that very intuitively. A real estate website where real estate, the only golden rule that you have is location, location, location. And use a map to let people draw polygons and understand what properties come in that particular area. And then you can do something better. You can let them know what is actually nearby. Is there a hospital nearby? Or is there a bank nearby? Is there a school nearby that my kids can go to? All of this information becomes very easy to use via the Maps platform. And the reason the maps are used in such a way is because this powerful information does not have a learning curve. Everyone is now very familiar with the interface of using a map. And maps reduce the amount of information that you need to display via making it visual. The Places API that is offered by the Google Maps platform precisely does this. It helps you understand what is nearby, how far is it, and what is possibly the real-time traffic information. Google also has an API that lets you predict what is the travel time, not today, maybe a week from now, 2 weeks from now. So even when you're planning for the future, you have the option to be able to understand what the traffic conditions would be like. Now, a very simple yet effective use case for all of these APIs is an application that the Kolkata police has deployed, a citizen application called Bandhu. This application lets people understand the nearby traffic. They let people understand the nearby parking lots and also report any incidents that are taking place in real time. Somebody can just snap a photo of a particular area, of a particular distress, and then send it to the server. And the server can then identify who the nearest dispatch cop is and simply route them towards that location, reducing the time for interaction to a matter of minutes or even a matter of seconds. All of this information exchange is taking place on the cloud, and you do not have to give anyone any directions because all of them are being taken care in an optimized manner by the maps. So routing and monitoring for your logistics or retail companies also becomes very easy and simple. You simply have a map-based interface where you have your warehouse and your drop points. You can monitor your trucks that are moving in real time, and as they are progressing from point A to point B, you can look at the status of the deliveries and also the status of the trucks. You can notify the drivers in real time whether they need to change the routes if there is traffic ahead or if there is some kind of blockage ahead. This not only helps to improve your customer satisfaction, but also the employee satisfaction. The customer satisfaction is improved via allowing the people to understand where their delivery is. We are all very happy when the food reaches us, but we are also very anxious to understand where the food is, how far is it away. You know, when I order my burgers, I need to know, is he coming in 2 minutes or 10 minutes? How long do I have to wait? Similarly, when Amazon is getting our packages, we are very excited and very happy. And if you let people track them on the road in real time as well, that improves customer satisfaction tremendously. Now, employee satisfaction is also improved because the employee now no longer is confused as to where the location of the delivery is. He can simply look at the map. He doesn't need to call you up every 10 minutes and check with you whether he's on the right direction or not. The optimized traffic routes let him spend less time on the traffic and less time on the road. This translates directly to your cost optimization in terms of fuel and in terms of employee overtime. Similarly, you can start pooling your resources, carpooling applications, as Santosh had also mentioned. Employees can start understanding where they stay close to each other, and then an algorithm can simply determine who needs to be pooled with who. This can be a citizen application as well. Now, imagine if you could take the information, the demographic information, and overlay it on a map. Now, on top of this map, if you overlay your businesses or your offices or your current operations, you can determine whether you're in the right areas or the wrong areas, whether there is plenty of business to be captured over there, or whether it does not make sense to have an operating area in that particular region. Now, all of these examples that I've been giving you, now all of these are real examples, but I also want to take this time to actually talk about benefits that people have derived in terms of hard numbers. Because at the end of the day, the return on investment is what matters. I could be telling you that it is a very good to have application, but what I'm telling you is this actually translates to real numbers. Harley Davidson built a very intuitive and very beautiful application that lets their motorcyclists plan the entire journey. Because people who have motorcycles, correct me if I'm wrong, love to take journeys. They love to plan their journeys and go on very long journeys. Now, if you had a map, what they could do is plan all of this beforehand and then share it with their friends to join them, and also with their friends and family for safety and tracking purposes. Now, this led to 3,000 downloads per month and millions of rides planned using the map-based website planner. You see, the benefits that the riders had was they could plan, save, and share and display all of their routes. The users can plan trips via the website and then use the mobile application, providing a very similar user experience across the platforms. And the riders, more importantly, can search for relevant information like gas stations, hotels, and other attractions, including the landmarks and nearby places to visit, points of interest. All of this by simply activating the map interface onto their platform. Another very important use case where you find a lot of companies leveraging the maps component is a dispatcher application. Now, here close to 200,000 fleet vehicles are being monitored on map-based internal applications, and 16,000 plus customers are using this particular tool. Now, the benefits that they're deriving here is maps allows them to focus on the work instead of customer support issues, because all of that is being done dynamically. The platform is more effective, interactive, and engaging for the customer. And the maps are very easy to use for both the customers and the development team as well. It is important that your development team is also very comfortable with using the APIs, because then once they understand the basics, they can brainstorm newer ideas, newer concepts that are built on top of this. So it is not only making life better for the end customers, but also for their developers. Staples again has the most interesting use case that personally I prefer. What they've done is they've built a nearby store locator, but that has been done by many other people. The thing that I really love about this application is that customers can buy products online and then pick them up like driveways. Like you drive into a McDonald's and you just pick up your order and you drive away. In a similar manner, you can just go to the store you've already ordered and they could be notified of your approach. Because you have the location sharing option, they could be made aware that you would be there in 5 minutes. They have the entire pickup ready. You just drive in, pick up, drive out. Now this is very powerful and very convenient for the store. Now Domino's Australia started using maps, and they earlier used packages. Potential franchisees used to opt for lowest tier, lowest price locations because they were not aware of the demand. When Domino's enriched the existing data with location, and they started defining areas as gold tiered, silver, or bronze tiered. Now the franchisees pick the highest tier because they understand the implication of a location. And Domino's then benefits from the returns it gets from these stores. So without having the location aspect, the franchisees never understood where the demand is coming from. Because they were able to populate the map with all of the demand, they started understanding that, hey, you know what? I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be 5 kilometers north because that is where the demand is. Similarly, 99 Acres started implementing Google Maps on their platform for real estate locations. Now, what this did is that it started having a very good impact on the way people interacted with the website, because 9 million pages visits per month to the website were driven because of this, and 70% of the visitors engaged with the map. Now, this is very interesting because you understand people want to interact with the map. And once they start doing that, users can have access to information about nearby points of interest, like the neighborhood, the hospitals, the schools which are nearby. And this helps the consumers make a more informed decision. Because if you're trying to buy a house, you need to understand what is nearby. Are you going to get bored because there are no movie theaters? Or there are ample restaurants nearby that you love? They were already familiar with the Google Maps interface. So when 99 Acres actually introduced its mapping feature, the consumers instantly expressed that they had a better experience. This is feedback that was given by the customers. The data accuracy prevents addition of incorrect locations. This is also useful to the people who are uploading locations, because now pinning it on the map makes it as accurate as can be, and people can reach your points of interest much easily. And this quote I always almost introduce and tell people about. Swiggy says that the maps provides the most accurate and reliable data, which is crucial for them. But more importantly, we also knew Google's intuitive interface would provide a great customer experience with little to no learning curve. This is the most interesting and important feature of Google Maps. That people do not need training to learn how to use it. Your customers do not need to worry about a new interface. It is already that which they are familiar with. This is not new to them, but what is new to them are the benefits. So all you have to focus on is how you can deliver the maximum benefits, and the customers can do the rest. Now, if you want to get started with using the different APIs, and if you want to understand more on how exactly you want to do this, you can always contact us. As Santosh said, we are the premier partners for India and Southeast Asia, and we can provide you with a free consultation on how exactly to brainstorm and what benefits your particular business can derive from using the mapping interface. You can get the Google Maps API licensing from us, and we can also help integrate these APIs with your application. We can brainstorm with you and your development team. We can understand exactly what your business does and how location can make it better. We have been doing a multitude of offline workshops as well. And you're always welcome to join us. And if there is a need, we can definitely come down to your offices as well. And we can conduct a training session for you where we can sit and explore all the possibilities of Google. Our expertise, primarily, if I can summarize, would be to visualize data, in enhancing location services, and also movement optimization. All in all, we provide location intelligence via the Google Map API interface. And to show you something very interesting, Google recently released an AR version for their Maps interface. AR now means augmented reality, and many of you may hear about this more and more in the coming days. Augmented reality takes your phone, takes your smartphone camera, and what it does is it adds object between the real world and your camera lens. Now this is very powerful. If you take a look at the video, you will be able to understand how exactly this might benefit an organization. Now you see in this video, I'm sitting in a taxi and I'm trying to search for cafes nearby because I'm really tired and I want to sit down. Now without having to block my view, in the mobile application, I'm able to look at all the cafes that are nearby. And this is in real time. They tell me the distance and they also tell me how to navigate to get there. You see how this could be used by different companies? Now you no longer have to look at buildings and try to identify what they are. You just look at the phone, look at your camera, and all the information is provided by the Maps interface automatically. If you have information of where the next interview is, you no longer need to worry about which building it is. Just take your camera, look at the building, and you can even highlight the floor on which the interview is to be held. You see, Google is making a lot of interesting changes to the platforms because technology is only limited by imagination. And implementing it very properly, I would say the imagination is boundless. So I would like to leave you with one final thought. The Google Maps platform themselves are undergoing a change. Starting June 11th, we will be having a new Google Maps platform that will have the same APIs, but in a very different package. And the package has been made different for the ease of developers and the ease of consumers. Instead of having the 13 APIs as before, they are now packaged into maps, into routes, and into places. So Google Maps APIs have now become the Google Maps platform. And this implementation will take place in Southeast Asia and across the globe For India, we'll have to wait a little while longer. As for India, because of the local specifications, the Maps product has not changed. So we are still going with the legacy premium plans. But for the rest of the world, we have the new Maps platform. And for more information, please feel free to reach out to us. And we can set up a one-on-one session and take this forward. Thank you everyone for this session. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to answer.
Thanks, Akhil. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will do our best to answer those questions. You can always send them to my email address or to sales@skymapglobal.com. So I'll see you guys in the next video, in our next webinar. And I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it was informative. Like I was saying, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them at sales@skymapglobal.com. Thank you.